Mr. Anish, it's a pleasure to having you with us. Thank you very much for giving us your time today.
Thank you very much, Mr. Madan. Good morning.
Very good morning. Before further ado, let us quickly jump into my very first question, which I am very excited to ask to every single host of ours. How did you choose? How did it happen to choose you as civil engineering as your studies for your studies?
Yeah, as I enjoy being a civil engineer, I must say it's not my choice to be a civil engineer because in India, when you have entrance examination for engineering college, you have 13 choices. And civil engineering happened to be my 13th choice, the last choice. And according to the rank that I had in the entrance examination, I could only get civil engineering. But it has been a wonderful journey ever since. I've enjoyed every bit of it. I think there was a divine purpose behind me being a civil engineer, not just the choice that I made.
Awesome. So that brings on to our next question. Once you started your career, like I guess it's back in 1996.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. You have directly like appointed here in Imad Consultants, Engineering Consulting Group, right?
Correct. Yes.
Yeah, and I can also see that you have like pretty a good exposure in you have participated in a number of like prestigious projects here in from the region, which is like some of them for our viewers, like Emirates Park Tower Hotel, tallest hotel in the world, Dubai Mall, largest mall outside China. Then we have Burj Khalifa, Emirates headquarters, Marina Bridges, and many. Your list goes on as an initial first timer, right? After getting straight out of the college, that too, I believe you got yourself into a structure designing.
Yeah. Yeah. Once I became a civil engineer, my passion was structural engineering because that's when I structural engineering, that really got my attention. I wanted to be a designer. So after graduation, I worked for about a year in India. And I came over here. I applied for a few jobs. I got as a consultant, as an structural engineer in a consultancy, which was a good starting point. I was there for about 1 year. Then I got into a company called BSL. They were a Swiss-based company. They were doing very specialized engineering projects. So I joined them as a design engineer, and that was the starting point. We did a lot of exciting projects. It is not normal projects that we do. It is like complex engineering projects. Like if you have seen, the lifting of big trusses. They make it on ground and lift it to place, and making complex bridges, stakeable bridges, and all of these things. And I was introduced to the technology called post tensioning way back in 1997, which is now very popular in the area in buildings and in bridges. So that was a good starting point for me. I learned a lot from BSL. And then later on, after about 5 years, I went on to join, in partnership with a company called Ridley's Foundation. We started a new post-tensioning division. And that's where all the excitement started. We were soon successful in our business, and we got to work with many different projects that you just listed. Many bridges, and Middle Foundation was the company who did the foundation for Burj Khalifa. So at that time, I was structural engineer with them, and I was able to design some exciting things for foundation, for the file testing, and all. Yeah, it's
awesome. Before, sorry to cut you off here, but before jumping into your positions, whatever you have left, let us jump back to your role in Imad Engineering Consulting, right?
Yes.
So. I was just very keen to learn from your experience, like how this particular initial curve, when pretty much you saw you are coming out from college, right? You are a fresher, and as soon as you found yourself, you have been absorbed in such a vast, prestigious projects. What were your feelings?
I was really excited because, when I applied for EMART consultants, their requirement was a person with 3 years of experience. And the experience that I had in structural engineering at that time was 3 months. So I was pretty elated to get that opportunity. But that was not it, because every structural engineer who comes to Dubai needs to take an exam in Dubai municipality and you need to pass that. So at that time I was able to do that. So it was a very, very good, exciting feeling, and helped me to get into the structure, the wonderful structures that are being built in Dubai.
Awesome. When you jumped over to another one, your position as design engineer in VSL Switzerland Limited, right? And you just shared that you had like an opportunity to learn about like pre-tender design and all those production of the profiles and extensive calculations and all. Can you please elaborate your journey from 1998 to 2003? Almost like 5 years you have been there.
Yeah. VSL Switzerland is basically a post-tensioning company. Post-tensioning applies the structural engineering technology that helps in reducing the quantity of concrete. It helps to make challenging concrete structures. I had studied post-tensioning pre-stressing in college. While I was studying itself, I knew that this was going to be a good, technology where a lot of things can be done. So when I saw the advertisement for a post-tensioning company, I was, even at that time, very keen to join them. And as luck would have it, or I would say again, the divine appointment, they selected me as a design engineer. And at that time, it was, the region was not experiencing the boom that we saw in like 2004 and 2005. Projects were very less. Actually, we did have a big project in Doha City Center at that time. So I was working full time in that project for almost a year, and slowly we started getting bridges in the area. We started getting other, silos, tank projects, and very complex engineering solutions that were required. So it was a gradual process, but VSL is one of the pioneers of post-tensioning. They've been in the market since 1930, 1940. A lot of this technology was developed by them. So it was for me a good place to learn about post-tensioning, and I'm glad and I'm grateful that I had a chance like that.
Especially when most of the projects are like towards now adopting towards post-tensioning, right? Slabs and all those stuff compared to earlier days, right? If I'm not wrong. So coming back to your personal life, I see that you have this hobby of reading and photography as well. So how do you actually compensate the time when being a part of such a prestigious projects? I'm sure you might be completely packed, right? How do you manage your time between your hobbies and your professional life?
It's not been very difficult. While I was in BSL, I was not married, so I had a lot of free time after office. So that was not an issue. Actually, photography came as a hobby later in life, probably 2005, 2006. I wanted to explore photography and all. But reading has been my hobbies ever since I was a child. That doesn't take much of it. It relaxes you a lot. It helps you to cope up with the pressure that is on. Actually, the pressure started coming after, let's say, 2003, 2004, when I started with MEPS, because that's the time when actually Dubai started to boom. The whole thing started to go up.
Exactly. My exact question was the next question was the same. So after your role, like from on in IMAD as well as VSL Switzerland, almost like 7 years, you took up a challenging role of Chief Technical Officer, and in MK4 MEPS, right? So that's the company name. So where you almost stayed around like 3 years on this position, challenging position. Tell us more about this particular position and how you were able to cope up in that particular period.
Actually, MK4 MEPS is a joint venture company between a Spanish company called MK4 and and a company called UA company called MEPS. I was in 2003. I joined MEPS. Actually, we started MEPS at that time as a new postage company in collaboration with the Police Foundation. So, and we started getting a lot of projects here in Dubai and the neighboring Emirates and all over GCC. So later on, MK4 was the system supplier, or they were the technology partners for MEPS. So later on, we started a joint venture between MK4 and MEPS on every country outside UAE, in the GCC, but outside UAE. UAE was still part of MEPS, but outside UAE, we had a joint venture called MK4 MEPS, which we were operating together. We were partners in projects. So I was the chief technical officer for that joint venture. So we had a lot of projects during that time in the GCC, in Doha, in Qatar, in Bahrain, in Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, and Oman. So I was the chief technical officer for that joint venture. And there also we did a lot of exciting projects. We did a lot of bridge construction, using novel techniques, using balanced cantilever, using lifters and all these things, which was a very good experience. We did a few projects in Kuwait, some projects in Saudi Arabia, some arch cable projects in Saudi Arabia. In Bahrain, we did a wonderful, cable project. So that was a time when I was involved more with bridges, and more challenges started coming in the type of projects that we take. Engineering wise. So, I was glad to be the chief technical officer of that particular joint venture. And it was a good 3 years.
When talking about challenges, Mr. Anish, I would be very keen to learn from you. What were the challenges you or your team, wherever you were a part of till this moment of your life? How did you feel the challenges with the paperwork in the construction industry?
Basically, we are specialist subcontractors. We are not main contractors. We do specialist work. We do things that nobody else can do. We are, focused on certain areas. In terms of working outside, it is always the challenge is to be in touch with your team all the time. You need to, especially when you're doing very complex jobs, you need to be in touch with the team 24/7. Because you might be sleeping here at the time, but work is going on in the site. So if any mistake happens in the site, you cannot change it afterwards. So people need to be in touch with you if they want, some advice, if they want some guidance on as to how things be done. Then you need to be in touch with the team all the time. So when you're working, with a team that is outside the country, where you cannot reach them all the time, I always felt that, the time during those times, if I may say, we didn't have the kind of communication facilities that we have now. It is, let's say, we are talking only about 7-8 years ago, but the communication means have grown vastly ever since. And I believe that that kind of help would have helped us to be more efficient in what we're doing then. And same happens here now. Now we have Zoom. We don't need a meeting room at all in our office. We can talk face to face from the comfort of our homes, and you can solve almost any problem through platforms like this. So yeah, things have improved ever since. There were challenges in solving problems. If there is a problem, I had to get on a plane and go to Kuwait if something was not working. Things like that. But I think things have become more easy ever since.
Yeah, definitely. We can actually see that the industry is also evolving, and people are very like-minded, and they're liking to adopt the technology as well. As far as Yovza is also concerned, that's the main motive. We have also started this particular initiative where we can actually collaboratively help the industry pull out from from the crunches of the paperwork which we go through each and every engineer. So apart from that, coming back to your career here, I can definitely see that you had a very good experience in Afro like Middle East, and you are continuing in the same company ever since 2003, right?
So I
So you
have
have
resigned from Middle East in 2015.
okay,
Uh, then I have started on a career of my own. I have started a company myself, a sort of a consultancy where I provide my services to many companies. At the same time, I'm acting as agent or a regional technical guy for MK4, which is the Spanish company which used to give the technical technical technology to MEPS. So I'm working with them as well. As well as that, I have my own structural, we can call it like a freelance structural consulting.
that's very interesting to learn about you. That how do you see what's the difference, main difference when you were as an employee and then working as a freelance now, almost as a self-employed person, right?
Yes. Yeah, it's different. There are benefits in both. Freelance is a challenging area because you need to do everything on your own. You need to do marketing, you need to do the work, you need to get the payments all by yourself. So that is challenging, but there are things that are satisfying because you're able to give value engineering solutions to your client, and they're happy, and I can do many things that is helping the market in many ways in helping them being more lean in terms of value engineering, in terms of providing good solutions. So yeah, there are challenges, but this exciting. Being an employee is yeah, you feel you get the satisfaction out of what you're doing, but there are you're limited by what you can do, and especially your time, how you want to spend this and all those things. I'm not saying that freelancing is easy. Freelancing keep you busy all the time, but at least you have a certain amount of flexibility over your own time. That's what I feel mainly.
Definitely, that's a great point you have said at this particular point. But apart from that, I'm very keen to know what made you take that particular step towards self-employment. And this is it, and this is the right time. I need to take that leap. Leap forward. I need to start something on that.
Yeah, basically in 2015, I had almost like 20 years, almost 18 years of experience in this market. And I felt that, there's a good time for me to start something on my own rather than working for somebody else. And, I had the kind of experience, the expertise to work independently in the market. And besides that gave me the opportunity to do what I want. It's not like I'm tied to one company and do what they are doing. I was now open to go to my competitors who were my competitors before and offer the services to them. I was able to go out of the country and work with companies that are outside and do technically challenging jobs, because I have a partnership with a consulting company in Taiwan who are experienced in very complex kind of projects. So we started a kind of partnership with them, providing value engineering solutions, providing good construction methodologies and all this to different clients. So it was jumping out of the plane to feel the air.
So that's very fantastic, because many of the engineers who are coming from especially southern state of India, or entirely as an Indian, right? So Indian mentality, they most of them, I would say that how we feel that they hesitate to take that particular jump and leave, right? So you know what I mean. So
Yes.
and
Yes.
when we especially see the persons, engineers like yourself, your good self, are taking that particular leap and grabbing that opportunity, seizing that particular opportunity, whatever is coming their way, and then like cutting your path, right, towards,
Yeah.
you're actually cutting your path, and you're laying your own path towards your destination. That's what.
True.
So it also involves a different challenges, different kind of mindset, different kind of like motivational factor we needs to be.
Absolutely, yes.
When
Yeah.
it comes to that motivational factor, of course, I would like to definitely know, how do you motivate yourself when you were an employee and when you are a self-employed?
Uh, See, engineering lacks no motivation, especially civil engineering. I told you that I am here by chance, but I'm enjoying every moment of it. Giving a particular solution, being part of an innovative solution is just exciting. I don't know how to explain that in words, but when you see that something that you have come up with, I'm also doing a lot of automation. Automation in the sense, there are a lot of things that people do or repeatedly, which can be automated. You can save a lot of time by making macros or doing programs and all these things. So I'm also doing a lot of things like that, and even when I was working, I was doing this for my company. Now when I'm on my own, to help myself, I'm bringing out programs which eases my work, and it makes my life easier. And this is all giving a sort of satisfaction as to somehow you're an innovator, you're doing something new, you're getting new challenges every day, and I'm happy to help people with difficult challenges, because this region, I would say, is a little bit slow to adapt to new technology. Once they have caught up with that, they go ahead with this. But the first thing, if you want them to make something new, it's very difficult. You need to do a lot of homework. You need to do a lot of campaigning, a lot of canvassing, a lot of things need to be done to bring them to that particular platform. But once they are in, they just catch on, and they continue to do that. So from a satisfaction point of view, I think, especially I talked about post-engineering. In 1997, post-engineering was not very popular in this place. You had to do a lot of canvassing to go to people. Even now, if they go to other countries outside the UAE, right now, actually, every country is going after post-engineering. I would say about 3-4 years ago, when we went to Oman, people were not very keen about post-engineering. In Qatar, it was not that much. So we have done that homework to bring people into this new technology, and they have caught on us, even in bridge construction, even in other types of construction. So this is an ongoing process. This is, we have to educate people and help them to see what are the benefits of what we're doing. And once they catch on, it gives a lot of satisfaction. It was happening while I was an employee. It is happening while I'm on my own.
So if we want to rephrase it in another way, you are actually finding it more exciting and satisfactory way while you are actually solving those day-to-day challenges, whichever you are getting in dreams, right?
Correct. Yeah.
And also you are seeing that particular joyness when you see something, you're building something, it's on in front of your eyes, man. We are building that.
Correct, yes.
Look how beautiful it is coming out.
Yeah, even if it is something very small, it's a normal small bridge. Every time you bridge, or you drive on that bridge, you drive under that bridge.
Yeah, exactly. I completely resonate. I completely resonate your feeling, because being a construction engineer myself, I have been also like in and around GCC region, building structures and mostly into residential villas as well as commercial buildings as well. One of the project was there where Diva substation was there, which energizes the whole Discovery Gardens area. So that whenever we pass through that area, man, this is a project which I was head of. This is a project which is actually I've done it. So I completely resonate with your the thinking and the feel which that brings onto the table, right? It's so proud moment. And also the engineers, being an engineer, as you said, you become an engineer by chance.
Civil
and it
engineering by
was
chance, yeah.
exactly civil engineering by chance. But after that, you started admiring the whole new dimensions of the engineering and all those stuff, right? But further on the go, how do you see that technological aspects rather than like I'm sure that you know that technology has been changing in terms of all the materials in the site, in terms of designing aspects. Yes, definitely it's been changing. It nowadays 3D printing has been coming in, and apart from these technologies, I'm talking about software technologies, like to improve the efficiency of any particular engineers or any particular a team, or when it comes to coordinate with all the stakeholders. Okay, when it comes to getting everything on your palm of a hand, all the information right in front of you, so that you can be proactive and take decisions precisely with the forecasted like reports and analytical reports in front of you. What do you say that how the technology over the period of time in the coming years construction would change in terms of that?
Yeah, good question. But let me add just one more thing. I said I am a civil engineering by chance, but you know, 2006, 2007, 2008, during that time, even now, you know, civil engineering, Dubai was the best place to be a civil engineer. So even though it was by chance, you know, I was in the best of places to be a civil engineer. Coming to the question about the technology, definitely technology is improving, and you know, with the advent of building information modeling and all these technologies that have come up, we have come to a place where we can do everything on the go. You don't have to be seated behind a desk in an office covered with a lot of files and you know, go through the files, do the paperwork and all these things within your office. You can be anywhere in the world still and still be on top of your project, doing what you're doing exactly. Sitting in your office, you could be sitting in an airport lounge, you could be sitting in a cafeteria doing exactly what you do in your office. And that is one good thing that has come about, especially with, you know, after this pandemic has started out. We know that people were not able to come to office, but that has not affected the work that much. You know, people were sitting in office and still working thanks to technologies like Zoom and you know, many other technologies where you know, you can actually do all your paperwork and at the same time communicate with your team and solve the problems that come across you on a day-to-day basis. So technology has tremendously helped. I was thinking, like, what if this pandemic happened in 2010? We would have been in a very bad state then. We don't have the technology that we have at this moment to manage projects remotely at that time, right? So just 10 years ago, we didn't have the right kind of technology. But in 2020, it's bad to have this pandemic at this time, but I would say we were better equipped to face this, to overcome the challenges you know, the industry is facing. As you know, the construction industry was never stopped. I mean, during this pandemic, because it was just going on. Maybe not full strength, but you know, it was going on somehow. Work was happening, the productivity was less, but things were going on. And I believe that is to a large extent because of the technology that we have in our hands right now.
That's yes. The next question was also related to our pandemic, the uncertainty which we are facing now today while we speak. And construction definitely is one of the industries again which never stop, at least in this region, in this part of the world, right? So we are, because we contribute to the economy such a large percentage, where the country cannot afford to stop construction in this particular region. And it is also a proud moment for us to consider that yes, we are also a frontliner in other way of saying, you know, we are
The
also
economy alive, yeah.
Exactly. So we never stopped getting to our projects. We never stopped our projects. Coming back to your responsibilities, one keen question which is going back and forth in my mind is, how do you actually look into risks? How do you actually anticipate risks? How you take risks? You know what I mean?
You mean in terms of engineering or in terms of the projects.
In terms of being a self-employed person, you must be handling your own team with you, right? So,
Yes,
how,
yes.
in terms of business person, how do you actually anticipate the risk and how do you actually overcome it?
Yeah, this is one of the challenges. As I said before, I was purely a technical person. Now I have to be my own marketing guy, my own, make my own strategies and all these things, not just in the projects there, but in the business also. Jumping into the fray itself was a risk. So I knew there were risks involved. It was not like, whether or not uh, you have projects in the future. You will be paid a steady salary. You know that you don't have if you don't have projects, you don't get paid. It is as simple as that. It's not just my case. I have to take care of the people that work for me. So that when you jump into a self-employment kind of situation, it is always that is one of the risks that you need to consider, and that risk is always there. Especially during this pandemic, we all know that the work has come down. So it will take some time to get back up to speed. So you need to look into other areas where you have to make sure that the revenues keep coming. You need to look into other partnerships. You need to do things that you were not doing previously. Maybe there are opportunities that are lying in other areas. So it is being on your own toes, so to say, looking ahead what is coming and making adjustments. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work, but you have to be ready all the time.
Yes, be ready all the time. That's a great saying. Before we close this our session today, any last words which you wanted to tell the budding entrepreneurs from our industry, the engineers who want to start their own as you have started? You can be such a great example for them. Any last
definitely. What I have seen is, even though people work in some position for a long period of time, they have a lot of experience in what they're doing, but they're not very confident of doing something on their own. I've met many people who lost their jobs in the last 4 or 5 years, and they are, they are finding it difficult to find a job for themselves in the market, because once you're a senior person, the opportunities is very less. It's not like being a fresher that you can get into any kind of job. But once you have worked in one position for 15 years, that is your experience. So you're looking at a position, and even the people who are recruiting you, they are looking at a position where they can accommodate you. They're going to take you as per your experience only. And it's very rare to find such. There are people who find it, but it's very difficult to find such an opening. But even then, people don't take that leap. They can on themselves do something. They can just start a company. What they were doing themselves. You can go to. There is a lot of opportunity in the market. There is a lot of competition in the market. If you are good enough, you can compete with good companies and get the market share for yourself. You're not a corporation and you're starting out. You don't need a huge volume of job. All that you need is a steady income and gradually start building upon that. But what I've seen is people are scared to do that. I can understand that there are a lot of uncertainties in front. It is not a steady path. It is not as easy as sitting in a paid job where you get paid every month. But this market, in this market, there are a lot of challenges in terms of even in companies, people are not getting paid on time. There are a lot of challenges that are in the market. So it is I would say if you have that intuition, if you have that feeling that you can do it on your own, then you should try it. You should make a jump, because the opportunities are everywhere. There is a lot of opportunity in the market, and instead of sitting there and keep looking for a job, look for opportunities where you can be your own boss. Right? You have a lot of experience. Take that plunge and see for yourself. You've got nothing to lose. I mean, anyway, you will not be getting the same kind of salary you used to get 4 5 years ago. You're going to be paid less. So why not take that plunge, take a chance? At least you can say I tried.
Yeah, at least you can come bounce back to the people around you and say that I tried and this is what I've learned.
Yes.
Exactly. Awesome, Mr. Anish. That brings on to the closure of our particular this episode. My fellow engineers, this was Mr. Anish, who has been into this industry with a diversified experience, obviously in many more projects here in the region, helping this particular region shaping out in his own way. I thank you, Mr. Anish, for your time. Thank you, and it is once again it's a pleasure having you with us today.
Thank you very much, Madan. Thank you. It was an absolutely wonderful time. Thank you for inviting me for this. I've enjoyed every bit of it, and I wish in your venture. I believe technologies like you are going to come up in the coming years, and people are going to need you because now they've learned that you don't need to be tied to an office to work, and you can do things wherever you are. And I believe that this is a good time for companies like you. And I wish you all the best.
Thank you, Mr. Anish. That was much indeed needed for us. And apart from coming back to this, my fellow engineers, stay tuned. Many more such stories yet to come. Thank you.
Thank you very much.